They said July 2025 would bring big changes to the UK state pension, but no headline could capture the anxiety that seniors like me felt. For months, I had been hearing rumours, reading letters, and trying to make sense of new calculations, means testing, and the constant revisions to pension rules. Hello, I'm Margaret, a 79-year-old UK citizen. July 2025 was supposed to be just another summer, but instead it brought the kind of uncertainty that left thousands of seniors like me anxious and scrambling. Rumours, letters, confusing calculations and constant revisions to pension rules had been swirling for months, and suddenly 5 major changes to the state pension were announced. Changes that threatened the security I had relied on for decades. For years, my pension was my lifeline, the reason I could pay rent, keep the lights on, buy groceries, and still enjoy small comforts like a cup of tea with friends. But as the new rules came into effect, I realized that surviving wasn't just about stretching every pound. It was about learning fast, adapting, and taking control before the changes swept away the stability I had built. Before these changes, life was manageable, though never luxurious. I would wake up each morning, check the bills, count out my pension money, and plan meals around what I could afford. Some months I had to skip treats, delay minor purchases, or walk to the store instead of paying for a bus fare. It was a quiet, daily struggle that few people outside my circle understood. I remember nights sitting at my kitchen table, staring at the heater I could barely afford to turn on, wondering how people in the news could make policy decisions without fully realizing the human cost. There were moments of despair, moments when I felt invisible, yet I refused to give up. Survival meant change. I started by tracking every penny. I wrote down expenses I hadn't noticed before, the extra coins I spent on tea bags, the occasional bus ride, the supermarket loyalty discounts I had ignored. These small adjustments added up. I learned to cook in bulk, freezing meals and stretching ingredients across multiple days. I discovered that meal planning was not just a modern trend, but a lifeline for a senior on a fixed income. Shopping around for energy suppliers and switching to cheaper providers saved me more than I expected. Slowly, I regained a sense of control. Technology, which once intimidated me, became another tool for survival. I learned to use apps for discounts, bill tracking, and benefit calculators, even joining online communities for seniors navigating the new pension rules. These communities were lifelines themselves, sharing tips, helping decode government letters, and offering encouragement. Suddenly, I was part of a network that reminded me I was not alone. I was learning, adapting, and perhaps most importantly, taking action rather than waiting for help to arrive. Then came the reality of July 2025. The government implemented 5 major changes to the state pension. Some benefits were recalculated, affecting how much supplemental income we could receive. Certain allowances became means-tested, meaning that seniors who had previously received them without question now had to provide documentation proving eligibility. There were new reporting requirements, stricter deadlines, and adjustments to the way annual increases were applied. For someone like me, each adjustment felt monumental. I had to rethink my finances, and I realized that understanding these changes could mean the difference between warmth in winter and cold nights, between food on the table and skipped meals. The political context behind these changes was equally important. Rishi Sunak's administration aimed to ensure the long-term sustainability of the pension system. introducing reforms that reassessed eligibility and annual upratings. Some of these measures, while logical in government reports, created real-world stress for seniors, requiring extra paperwork and careful financial planning. Boris Johnson's legacy policies, including freezes and recalculations, had already complicated the picture, making predictability a luxury we no longer had. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer and Labour critics warned that many seniors risked losing out due to stricter means testing, emphasising the disproportionate effects on vulnerable citizens. Each of these political decisions wasn't abstract. It had a direct impact on people like me, who relied entirely on pensions to live with dignity. I remember speaking with friends who struggled to understand the letters they received. Some seniors became afraid to open them, unsure what new obligations they might contain. Others navigated successfully by asking questions, using online calculators or attending local council sessions to learn about their rights. Real-life examples showed a stark contrast. Those who took initiative adapted, while those who waited often found themselves caught off guard. This period taught me that knowledge was power, especially when every pound counted. Returning to my personal journey, I had to find ways to stretch my pension further and create small streams of income. I began offering tutoring to neighbourhood children in reading and math, sharing the skills I had accumulated over a lifetime. I taught crafting classes from my home, showing others how to make simple items from recycled materials. These activities didn't just provide extra cash. They gave me purpose, connection, and confidence. I also focused on my mental and emotional health, practicing meditation, walking daily in nearby parks, and attending senior community groups. Coping with stress and maintaining hope became as important as budgeting or finding extra income. By the end of 2025, after months of navigating these 5 major pension changes, I felt stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I had learned that survival wasn't about waiting for policies to favour you. It was about adapting, learning, and seeking community support. My advice to other seniors is simple. Track your spending, embrace technology, find meaningful ways to earn or save, and connect with others facing the same challenges. Government decisions will always shift the landscape, but our actions determine how we weather those changes. Looking back, the crisis taught me that even in the face of uncertainty, it's possible to thrive. The state pension changes of July 2025, initially daunting, became manageable because I acted early, stayed informed, and used my creativity and network to navigate obstacles. Life as a senior in the UK is not without challenges, but it is also a chance to redefine independence and resilience. Every small action, budgeting carefully, learning a new skill, or helping someone else, makes a difference. If I, at 79, could face these changes and adapt, so can others. I share my story to remind seniors across the UK that hope, planning, and persistence are powerful tools. Policy shifts may shape the environment, but they do not define our ability to live well, find joy, and remain independent. This is my journey, my lessons, and my encouragement. No matter how daunting the changes may seem, take action, embrace support, and never underestimate the strength within yourself.